Hi, my name is Caroline Centeno. I'm a sophomore in high school. I take 4 AP classes, am involved in several extracurriculars, and I have a confession to make. But first, I want you to make a confession. As students sitting in the audience of a speech on stress, I want your opinion. So, how many of you in the past 6 months have experienced a relatively moderate amount of stress? How many of you would like to see your grades go up before the end of this year? And how many of you in the past 6 months have experienced stress because you need your grades to go up? So, the effects of stress on student performance. Well, what is stress? Stress, as defined by the Oxford English Dictionary, is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. But we know that already. We all know that students are stressed. It's common knowledge. However, this is not the most important thing to worry about. Before we can understand where we are going and find a way to get back, we must first realize where we are now and how we got here. So, where are we right now? Well, distress on campus takes a variety of forms, but far and away the leading cause of concern in 2015 was anxiety. 54% of college students report feeling overwhelming anxiety, up from 46.4% in 2010, as reported by the semi-annual American College Health Association survey, as stated by Hera Murano. The first time I ever felt true earth-shattering, universe-imploding stress, I was 9 years old. I was in my elementary school math class learning how to do long division for the very first time, and I could not get it. It wasn't coming together in my head. My best friend, on the other hand, he was good at math in all the ways that I was not. If you ask him, this was stupid easy, but he's not here right now, so let me tell you the truth. The real story is that I had been good at everything in school up until then. My teachers always expected me to be at the top of my class because I always was. But what happens when that student doesn't get it? Day after day, I would work after school for hours with my mom trying to get that homework right. I would cry over that piece of paper and the next day turn it in with tear stains. My teacher would ask me why. However, it was not why that she should have asked. It was I who should have asked how. It doesn't seem like this minor event would be all that important in the grand scheme of things, but it is at this point in our lives when we can first recall that gut-wrenching feeling of stress, of anxiety, that we must go back to in order to examine where we are right now and how we are going to be. Even Sylvia Burwell, president of American University 2014 through 17, agrees that students' mental health is a growing concern, and when that health is poor, it inhibits the core mission of learning. While many people may argue that the effects of stress are every day and they haven't changed, it's incorrect, because regardless of that, we can see that the effects of stress are being felt now more than ever. Mr. Christopher Arrington, one of the guidance counselors here at the Osceola County School for the Arts, has stated that he sees over half of the students he represents come through his office every single year. Had the effects of teen stress been less pronounced, this number would be undoubtedly lower. So, what does this mean? Well, this means that students are feeling more stress now than ever before. And what does this do? Well, as student stress levels increase, the amount of absences due to illness increases also. Not only does that inhibit learning, but it also prevents students from gaining the necessary skills that will make them competitive in the college application process, which undermines the very foundation upon which that stress is built. So how did we get here? Well, there are numerous complex and interrelated factors that contribute to growing mental health concerns, but for the most part, right now, it's stress. Okay, so pharmacology and psychopharmacology, breakdown of family structure, intense pressure to succeed academically, high rates of narcissism, and a various amount of social, cultural, and personal factors influence this, as reported by Jeff Kane. In a sample of 2,379 AP IB students, 71% stated that they often feel very stressed. And this was on a measure that examined cynicism towards school, feeling of inadequacy at school, and exhaustion due to schoolwork. How did we get here? When I have spoken to IB students, they say the same thing that us as AP students speak about. They experience the same types and same amounts of stress as AP students, but why? I don't know about you, but as a student who's taking 4 AP classes and who is part of all of these intense extracurriculars, I know that cynicism and exhaustion due to overwork is real. It's not something that we're making up, but why is it okay? It's crazy that I've decided to take so many AP classes. It's crazy that I have fun in my extracurriculars, which are equally as demanding as those AP classes. It's crazy that this is what's normal on a college application. Our parents are increasingly telling us that we have to succeed so that we can go to one of those Ivy Leagues. But I know being part of one of those top-tier universities would be incredible, but is it really worth subjecting yourself to more pressure than most adults would be able to handle? I've realized that this is a very generational idea. As more and more students are pushed to do better, they take more and more IB and AP classes, which then decreases college acceptance rates, forcing them to work harder, smarter, and burn out faster. They continue the cycle like this every single year, very rinse and repeat. It doesn't help us at all. So, why should you care? Why does it matter? Well, it matters because, yes, a little bit of stress can be really good sometimes. It can motivate us as students to do the best we can do, become the best people we can be, and succeed. Having a little pressure put on your shoulders can push you out of your comfort zone. It can make you experience something you never would have even imagined, but too much. That's when you get burnout and loss of motivation. So, what is burnout? Well, just like in the movies where the main character loses motivation just before he gets what he wants, a student experiencing burnout will be forced into uncomfortable positions that ultimately hinder performance. A student who experiences burnout generally lacks that driving force within that used to propel them, all because of what? Because they tried so hard to be in that top percentile that they overworked themselves to the point of exertion, so much that they can no longer continue in the same manner? How is this okay? And loss of motivation? A student who experiences burnout is being burnt out because of this loss of motivation. When that pressure is way too high, everything is out of your control. When you have so much pressure on your back that you can no longer control what you are doing because it's too much. As students, we aren't capable of holding all of the weight of the world on our shoulders. We're teenagers, and stress is affecting us too much to help us. So, what do we do now? Well, students, listen to your bodies. Believe it or not, your body will tell you when you're doing too much. If you feel like you've put too much on your plate, take a step back, take a break, look at it from outside. Change your perspective because that's what's going to decrease your stress level. These are supposed to be some of the best years of our lives, and overstressing isn't going to do anything to help us in the long run. And parents, take care of your children, be compassionate. Don't force them to do things they aren't capable of doing because they know their limits. Allow them to take the classes that they feel they are capable of taking, and unless it's absolutely necessary, don't hassle your children about work they are close to completing. If you act with compassion towards your overstressed children, you'll be taking some of the weight of the world off of their shoulders, making their high school experience that much easier. Thank you.